Good evening, good morning or good afternoon everyone, depending on your time zone. Welcome to Sisel's Doctor's Clinic. Your host tonight, from Denver, Colorado, Daniel D.W. Whited. Dr. Kurt Fisnick is in the house. D.W., take it away, my friend.
Well, I tell you what, British Rob, we love you, man. I love that. And what a great time to be involved with what we're doing. Sisel's just launched some of the greatest products on the planet and just continues to take the ones we have to another level. And tonight you're invited to be a part of the Doctor's Clinic. And we've got Dr. Kurt Fisnick here, and he's with us again this evening. And, Doc, we appreciate and we love you, brother. We're just so glad you're part of what we're doing, and all the lives you're changing and impacting and making a difference in is just huge, including mine personally. And so you've been a big blessing to our family as well. So what's going to happen this evening is we're going to talk about a topic and a subject. We're going to jump into something that is sometimes pretty easy to to pinpoint it, but not so easy to turn it around and stop it. And we're going to deal with the word stress. And one thing I want to say as we start off tonight when it comes to stress, positive stress or negative stress doesn't really matter. It does the same thing to your body. And if you're going through some positive stresses or you're going through negative stress, it still tasks your body. And so, then there's emotional stress, there's mental stress, there's financial stress, the stress that people have, and we won't get into the last one, but there's even spiritual stress people go through from time to time. And so, but those stresses do the same thing to your body. And what we want to do is put you in a position on identifying where the stress is coming from, possibly maybe even changing some things that cause some of that stress, and and kind of going from there. So that's where we're at. Dr. Kurt Fisnick, the world is your waiting room, and welcome to the call tonight.
Hey, DW, thanks. And, and what a great introduction. I love doing these calls. I love working with people because, 9 years ago when I got in that motorcycle wreck, really my life was taken from me as far as what I'd been developing over the years. I've been a chiropractor for next year will be 30 years, and I had a huge practice. 2004, I was selected as one of America's top chiropractors. 2007, I'm laying in a hospital bed, facing a possible amputation of my right leg, and so when I got into network marketing, the one thing that I really missed was the working with people. Products, and so I really.
Doc, you're cutting out on us just a tad bit. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me all right if I talk like that?
Yeah, perfect. Good job. Way to go.
Oh, okay. I just had to pick up my phone rather than leave it. So, like I was saying, after my motorcycle wreck, I really had to figure out a way of getting back into the business of helping people, because that's what we go to school for. When we go to school to be a doctor, is that, we're not going to school to dream of big riches and all that. We go to school because we like helping people. And so what I really like about this company is we have such great products, and we can really make such a great difference, like DW just said, in everybody's life. And it's not just us as doctors, it's all of you that are listening to the call, because you can share the products, and Tom and I were having a discussion yesterday on products, and we were talking about, how a lot of companies, they'll come out with like a straight vitamin D product, or they'll have a straight vitamin E or whatever, and you can buy just chaga alone and things like that. And we were talking about how, when we're working with Sisel, because of the master formulations that he comes up with, they're so much more powerful than any single nutritional ingredient by itself. And so I just really want to share that before we get to the start of the call. But DW, you were talking about stress, and you talked about spiritual stress and emotional stress. But one of the things that a lot of people don't think about is chemical stress. And And chemical stress is probably something that affects a lot of us a lot more than we really believe. And you can go look at a lot of different stats, and you can go look at a lot of different websites, and you can find, like if you go to toxtown.com, it's a government website, right? I mean, here's our own government, the federal government, has put together a website that you can go to, and if you're a baggage handler at the airport, for example, you can go to Toxtown, you can go to the airport on Toxtown, and you can click on baggage handler, and you can see what kind of toxins you're really exposed to. If you're a mail carrier, or if you're a bartender, or whatever you want to look at, you can pull that up on Toxtown.com, and you can see what kind of toxins you're exposed to. But chemical stress is really, really high, and something that we don't think about. And then the last one that DW, not saying you missed it, but physical stress as well. And I was talking to a friend of mine last night who's been in 2 car accidents in the last 18 months, and we were talking about the physical stress from a car accident, and how all of a sudden now he's having trouble with his right arm. He can't hold his little baby, and because his arm gives out. And last weekend he was dropping things, and they were just falling out of his hand because his hand was so numb. But so there's physical stress as well. But the thing about it is that, and again, here's where all my knowledge of all the science and all this comes into play, is that when you take all that stress and you route it into the body, where does it go? Well, it goes into a part of the brain called the thalamus, and I'm not going to test you on this or anything, but it's called the thalamus. And then from there it goes to the brain. The brain says, Kurt's being exposed to a stress from heat. Maybe I got my hand on a hot stove top or whatever, and so the brain says, pull your hand away, and it has other things too. It reacts to the heat. Maybe it blisters. It changes physiologically inside. The blood flow changes. All those different things kind of change based on what the brain says. But the part that I like to share with people, because they don't really understand, even a lot of doctors don't understand this, is that the thalamus doesn't distinguish what kind of stress it is. The thalamus, that part of your brain, it doesn't care. It doesn't care. And so if you're having a lot of physical stress, you're going to get the same reaction as if you have a lot of chemical stress. And if you have a lot of chemical stress, you're going to get the same reaction as if you have a lot of emotional stress. And so that's why you can have different days where you go, well, I don't even feel stressed out, but I still have that migraine headache today. And excuse me. And so the thalamus doesn't distinguish. It just says, hey, we got a problem here in Houston. We got a problem. And so it reacts. And how does it react? Well, it reacts by triggering a response, and that response runs through the weakest link in your body. And so that's why we see, and you've heard me talk about the 7 symptoms of stress, and we can start chasing those down and treating the symptoms, or we can say, let's try and fix the problem. And so one of the things that I want, and that DW and I talked about this morning, that we wanted to share on the call, was the fact that, some of the problems with stress really is that, I'm trying to think of a way of saying this because I don't want to offend anybody, anything like that. But part of the problem is that people today seem to always want to have an excuse. They want to have something that they can that they can blame things on. You know, this is why my life is the way it is. This is why, you know, I am where I am, and sometimes they don't take, you know, full responsibility for it, and that's why we're seeing a lot of people, you know, the first thing they do is they go on antidepressants, which I'm totally against antidepressants. You know, they were never invented for long term. They were only invented for short term use, and we've turned into a society where everybody's being diagnosed with something, and they're being prescribed something, and really, you know, for all of you that are on the call, the reason you're on the call, the reason you're here, is because you're looking for an answer. You're looking for an answer on how to fix some things, and so from there, what I'd like to do is I'm just gonna kind of lead that up to what DW and I were talking about this morning, is that, you know, when you're looking at stress, one of the major causes of stress and one of the things that happens and how it affects our lives and how it actually changes our lives, because, you know, even myself, you know, I guess it was 12 years ago when I went through my divorce. I mean, it wasn't because of emotional stress. I mean, at least I didn't think so. It wasn't due to physical stress or chemical stress, but my divorce was triggered by a stress factor, and that stress factor had to do with financial, and so that's where I want to really lead in, because I really think that when we're talking about health, we have to talk about what's the cause. When we go up and we start working on upstream medicine, how do we fix things? And that leads me into introducing you to just an awesome guy. I mean, we've gotten to be good friends, and he really is able to share with people in a way that makes it sensible on the opportunity. So, DW, I'm going to tee you up there and just say, take it away and just explain what's causing a lot of the stress in America.
Well, I tell you, everybody, we're jumping into this, and Doc, I want to jump into that as well, but I'm going to touch on it. I want you to add one thing, and then we will talk about the number one reason for stress in America right now, and the number one reason people are going through divorces, which cause so much stress. But some of the products we have that can help you right now with the physical stress and sometimes even the emotional, and but the chemical. Number one, get with the person who invited you to this call and stop putting chemicals on your body, and put products on your body that are toxin free. That's step one. You know, and the next step that you want to do is get on our triangle of life, which is 3 different products kind of combined that will get the toxins, will be one of the starting points of getting toxins out of your body. That is a big deal. So you want to be in that position where you start getting the toxins out of your body. But some of the products we have, and I'm just going to go by my notice, we just had a convention. And since I've been taking for Restore, I've wanted to go do more. And I wasn't lazy before, but I want to do more than what I was doing. And I can go longer during the day. I'm up earlier, go longer at night. I'm sleeping better. It's restored some pathways. I even have a desire to change my taste buds to where I eat cleaner. That's another thing. You want stress in your life and chemical stress? Get rid of one of the number one chemicals out there, which is sugar. Just get rid of it. Just be done with it already. So the next thing that you want to do is, we have another product that just came out called Sisel Greens. And the Sisel Greens we all know how great greens are for you, and you're not getting the nutrition in the greens that you're buying from the store as a rule. But when you get Sisel Greens, things change, and because they're loaded with a bunch of bees in them. They got all the B12, B6, B9s, all the bees in them, which help with your attitude, which help with stress, which help with moving things forward. Another product we mentioned a little bit with is a Triangle of Life, and And that's another game changer. You know, by the way, in that For Restore, it has something that helps stimulate the thalamus gland, and which creates the right HGH in your body, which helps build muscles. And when you build muscles and get sugar out of them, that releases stress. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to that. The thalamus gland that's kind of right between your eyeballs that Doc was talking about earlier. Then our Ultramax. If you're on edge, it brings you down. If you're depressed and discouraged, it lifts you up. So the Ultramax, and you just need small sips of it a day, a third of a bottle, a whole bottle for real stressful days. When you're tired and just, you're going through fatigue that way, and you can't take the nap that your body needs, just hit a little bit of Ultramax. But sometimes getting rid of stress is that you stop everything and just get some rest. And then our Brain Vitality is another game changer when it comes to getting rid of stress. And the Omega Pluses has all the omegas in it, plus nutrition for the heart with the coenzyme Q10. And so those are some of the products right off the top of my head, along with our multivitamin Encompass 360, which offers you a vast supply of the basic nutrients, maximum amounts of the basic nutrients that you need each day. And so, Doc, anything you want to add to that before I get in and give the answer to the number one thing that's causing stress?
GW, I think, like you said, I mean, Body Shield, pull the heavy metals, the toxins out. Like
absolutely, yes, about. Body Shield. And Sizzling as well.
Yeah. I mean, all of those things, I mean, every single product that we have it can add to it.
Yeah. Well, I love it. All right, everyone, we're going to get into answering this question. This is kind of interesting because the doctor's clinic, sometimes when you go sit down with the doc and he's really wanting to help you move forward, and he can throw you a lot of things that will help get rid of stress, but one thing he would love to throw you that he's never going to do it, and that's to help you out with the number one reason for divorce right now in America is financial stress, cash flow stress. That doctor's not going to give you a prescription for money. He's not going to write out a script and say, here, go to the pharmacy and get yourself $100,000 and pay off your debt and be stress-free. He's not going to do that, all right? That's just not going to happen. However, with what we're doing in Sisel International, we can put you in a position to get rid of that stress. In some people's stress, they say the average person that files for bankruptcy, if they had an extra $300 to $500 a month coming in, would not go through that bankruptcy. Are you kidding me? Number one reason for divorce is money. Number one reason, that for bankruptcy is just $300 to $400 to $500. And even if it's $1,000 a month, we can help people do that in a short order. But you have a system out there that's causing you stress, and it's called the 45-year plan. And it's where the average person starts working when they're at age 20, and they don't quit working until they hit age 65, soon to be mandatory 67 and maybe 70. And in other countries like Australia, they're pushing for 74 years old before you can move into full-time retirement. And then when you do retire from doing the 45-year plan, now can you imagine working over 100,000 hours of your life and hit age 65, and you're in a position to where you are either about physically dead and most likely dead broke. And that's when you think about that and you wonder why the stress. Well, if you're used to making $900 a week, get used to living on $300 a week. That's what's going to happen to you. My dad and I just had this conversation the other day, and he was just saying, man, I've worked all those years and I only got X amount of dollars coming in for retirement. He was a Marine. He'd done a lot of things. And in his retirement, I am telling you, most you make more than a half a week of worth of work than what he does for the whole month. And this man, he worked. I mean, he worked on through his 70s, and he's still working today, doing real estate stuff and things like that to try to, make ends meet and help things happen and taking care of tenants and going through all that stress. It's a money stress thing. And that's not what he thought life would be when he hit this age. And so he didn't think it'd be like that. Well, what happened to Dad? Well, he got involved in the 45-year plan. And that's where you're owned. That's where you're going to make more money for someone else, and they're going to make than what you're going to make for yourself. That means, that's where you're in a position to where you'll never be able to drive what they're driving, have what they have, do what they're doing. We have a situation, and we're going to write out a prescription tonight to you to be involved with us on the Sizzle side to get rid of your stress. Whatever you need financially, whatever you need money-wise, you just write that down. And the person that got you on this call, they can get a hold of me, they can get a hold of Doc Fizz, they can get a hold of one of your business partners that you're working with, and come up with a plan of action on how to have that much cash flowing into your home and into your house each and every day. And I don't even want you stressing out over these products. I mentioned a lot of products, and some of you might be thinking, oh my goodness, I can never take all those. Yeah, you can. If money's no longer an object, you can take them. So in Sisel, we have a philosophy. We're not out to get everybody furs and cars and all this kind of crazy stuff and do that crazy junk. We're out to get people debt-free, totally and completely debt-free. And so, Miss Helen and I started on this mission of being debt-free, and when it comes to mortgage and everything, it'll be less than 2 years, and we'll be totally 100% debt-free. And we'll just owe nothing more than the necessities of life, like phone bills and, electric bills and things like that. Now, with that said, we weren't in that situation, nor did we have that opportunity. So we wrote our own prescription out. And you're going to get a prescription that will come with a plan of action to put you in a situation where you can get to X amount of dollars. We have helped, there's about 8 of us that we've helped get to over a 6-figure income, and it took us right at 12 months, all right? Some people, it might take them 24 months. They may not be as teachable, trainable, coachable, or their schedule may not allow to do such things, but you can be in a situation where you can have an extra 500 to 1,000. Well, once you get an extra 300 to 500 a month coming in, that's going to take care of whatever you want to buy product-wise for yourself. And then you make the next 300 to 500. That's going to tax some bill that you have and attack some debt. And we can do that. And we've got an entire system and plan in how to take that forward and get that done. I don't want you going through financial stress. That just jams my nerves and irritates me. We want to be in. Here's the goal with Sisel. Here's the goal with the team that works with Dr. Kurt and works with myself. Here's our goal, and works with Rob Cohan as well. Here's our goal. To be in a position to where money has nothing to do with any decision that we're making. To be in a position to where money has nothing to do with any decision that we are making. Are you kidding me? That can happen to you. You can do that right here with Sisel. Now, how you do that is we do attack debt. We do put you in a position to where, and you'll have some people that will not want to join you on a financial toxin-free lifestyle, to where most people have more month than they do money. And most people in America, if they had money had no money coming in for 6 weeks to 6 months, are in bankruptcy. They're evicted from their homes. They're evicted from what they're doing, and that does not need to be the case right here in Sisel. You need to. You want to upgrade your neighborhood, you'll be able to do that. But we'll attack debt. We'll put you in a situation to where your products are paid for. Step 1. Step 2, the next major bill you want to attack, and you can have an extra $300 to $500 to $600, $700 to attack that. And it gets amazing. We have about 7 steps to how our compensation flows, and it's as simple as this. Step 1 is very, very simple, and it's called Fast Start. When you bring somebody on who doesn't want anything to do with the financials, and they don't want to be financially free, that's fine. Or maybe they already are, and they just want products, that's fine. There is easily 10 people that out there that can use the Siseline and our new greens product that has Siseline in it as well. And at least 10 chubby buddies, okay? At least 10 people that their testosterone levels are down and they need those restored, where their thymus gland is all messed up, and some of these things you hear, those people. And we can bring those people on board with us, and they'll just buy just the products. But then there'll be some others that want to attack their checking account. Most people's bank accounts are anemic. If they had to come up with $5,000 for an emergency today, they could not do it. They couldn't put their hands on it without getting into more debt. All right? And if that's you're going to want to take on this project. We have a Fast Start bonus where you just bring one of those individuals who want to be a business partner with you, and they want to help you with distribution of products. This is how we create a win-win. Everybody can buy the product for the same cost that they cost me, just because we do massive amounts of volume now, which we weren't doing. One day, the only volume we had was our own. That's it. That was all we had. The first several orders we placed in the volume that we created was what we placed for ourselves. And so we built one person at a time. And we built to where there's massive volume coming through there. But when you bring on someone who wants to help you with distribution, that looks at their banking account and says it's bulimic, it's anemic, it's it's anorexia, it's so thin, there's nothing there, it is toxic, massively toxic, and they want to build that up, we can do it here. We can do it right here with this. Fast Start Bonus is going to pay you out about 20% for the first, like say you brought me in the business, all the orders I place in the first 30 days, you know what? You're going to get paid a Fast Start Bonus on them, providing you've done at least an order of $50, which would be a Brain Vitality or a Siseline or something simple like that. And then we have a direct commissions that are paid out. And it pays out through 8 levels. I'm not going to get into all those details. We'll do that on other calls and stuff. But what I wanted to lay out for you tonight is that we're in a situation to where you have just about 100 clients and business partners with you, 120. You're bringing in a $2,000 to $3,000 a month income. There's no company doing it, and that's just with commissions only. That's not with Fast Start and the other bonuses. And, Doc, I'm not going to get into the other bonuses, but I just wanted to kind of talk tonight about the possibilities of what Sisel can do for you. What if? And if you don't do this, then what are you going to do for your financial stress? What are you going to do? I mean, can you downsize anymore? Can you drive any much of an older car than you're driving, so to speak? You know what I mean? And I love, our cars are paid for, and that's how we buy cars is with cash. Or was Dave, we didn't do that. I was in college, and I was told at that time, you need to go out and get a car, and you need to get a loan, and you're in college. And I got talked into by someone that I had a lot of confidence in to go get a loan for an automobile. And biggest disaster of my life. Huge mistake. You know what they told me to buy, Doc? Now, I sold my 1948 pickup to help pay for college, and I sold my Nova SS Supersport 350 to help pay for college, and I was down to just a little old junker that fell apart, and go get this loan, and I did. And I bought a Dodge Colt. Now, Doc knows what I'm talking about. You go from those 2 cars down to a Dodge Colt that had a little extra shifter from economy to whatever it was that it shifted into, which is hilarious. I mean, that thing was, it was hilarious. But that's what I had. That's what I bought. And I got a payment on it. And that payment was so hard to make, and it caused so much stress, and it caused so much challenges and so many problems, and I'm trying to pay for college. And back then, Mom and Dad didn't believe in welfare. I paid for my own school. Back then, it was real simple. I worked at a Vickers gas station about 60 hours a week at night. I had a newspaper route that I threw. I was taking 21-hour credits in school. And on top of that, I was managing a apartment complex in it that the youngest person that lived in it was 62 years old. And they all were retired, and they loved me, and they wanted all the attention I could give them. That's what I did to get through college. And that doesn't have to be that way. But that's the way it was for me. And, and so you can be in a situation, I don't care where you're at, what you're doing, we can get cash flow coming to you. And why? Because our products work, because they have power. And so we're talking about 3 levels of kind of stress. We're talking about the chemical stress. Quit putting toxins on your body and wondering why you're sick and not feeling horrible. Knock it off already. Get toxin-free 100%. Don't dink around with it. All right? And number 2, get the toxins out of your body with the Body Shield, with the Triangle of Life, and extract those out of there. Go through a couple bottles of this Sisel Immune just to kind of boost your immune system up, and then as needed, take those. Use the Influence to help you with some allergy challenges and other toxins that are there, and then jump in there and grab a hold of some of the things that help you stay chemical free when it comes to our body. Feed your muscles the proper protein that they need, with the Sisel Greens and then the Siseline and vanilla and chocolate. And so don't go a day without taking Triangle of Life. When you're going through challenges, double, triple dose it if need be. But that's what needs to happen. So, Doc Kurt, anything else? I mean, I just touched on just the basics. I mean, our marketing plan, it pays everybody. But, Doc, did that come across okay to you, sir?
A Dodge Colt?
Yeah, I know you would absolutely beat me to the inch of my life. I was told at that time, I'll just be honest, I was told by a father-in-law that told me that's what to go do, and I thought he was the guy that knew what he was talking about, and boy, was I absolutely depressed.
You sold a Nova and you bought a Dodge Colt.
sold my beast awesome cars, and ended up, going into college. And yep, there you go.
CW, I don't think I can be friends with you anymore.
Well, I tell you what, I repented. Have never come within 100 yards of a Dodge Colt fence. They don't even make them anymore, nor should they begin with. I had to tell that story because when you're young, you go do what they tell you to do, and it's just crazy. Because I tell you what, Doc, that's some of the worst advice I ever got. It was embarrassing. The whole thing was horrible.
I have to tell you this. I sold my car, a '69 Dodge Corvette, and I bought a Pinto.
Oh well, that's even worse, brother. And I bet it was green.
No, it was orange.
Well, there you go. Well, they thought you was a soda can coming down the road. But how many have stories like this to where we listened to somebody that gave us the worst advice ever, and right now you're getting the best, honest counsel, wisdom, and advice that you're ever going to hear. You jump in here and you hook somebody up with the products that are life-changing, and you bring them into this thing, and you help them build a distribution system, and they will love you for life. And and so this is just the opposite. They told me to go get in debt, was the point I'm trying to make. We're telling you to get out of debt. You see what I'm saying? And not just telling you, we're giving you a pathway. We're giving you a prescription on how to get out of there. Get with the person that brought you and get onto the website and pull up the compensation and have that person go through step 1 through 7 with you, and the different options that are there. So, Dr. Fisnick, anything you want to add before we close this call up?
DW, I really appreciate everything you said, because that is the truth. I mean, a lot of problems that people have. Last week on the Dr. Sisel call, you got to go listen to last week, but I talked about my dad, and when he was raising us 5 kids, there was 5 of us. I mean, he couldn't afford the products. He back then, when we were kids, 50-some years ago, he wouldn't have been able to afford the products, and that's what he said. But I said, well, what if you would have shared it with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people and found a few people every year that would have done it? I said, and your products would have been free. And my dad looked at me, and all of a sudden this light went off in his head. And he said, yeah, I could have done that. And I said, would we be sitting here in Mayo Clinic today talking to a doctor about your cancer? Would we be sitting here talking about that had you been on these products way back then? Or products similar to this that were around way back then? And you know what? You could tell that light bulb went off in my dad's head, and he said, Kurt, he said, you're right. And that's what it takes. Sometimes you have to find a way to get it into somebody's head, but make sure and do that, because the financial part could make it so they can afford the products, so you're not sitting at a cancer center with them down the road. So DW, that's all I wanted to add. Thanks for being here.
DW.
There you go. Rob Cohan, you have a comment to make? Let's hear what's going on, brother.
Happiness is positive cash flow. Everything else follows.
That is the truth. That is truth. When you have positive cash flow, that is so true. Everybody, we appreciate you being part of this call tonight, and we appreciate, Rob, all your help back there. Barb Grindy, what you do to set this up and make sure people know what's going on out on Facebook and everywhere. And Dr. Kurt Fisnick for your insights, your ideas, and I'm honored to be a part of your life and to look you in the eyes, and look at you, and speak to you from my heart to your heart. You can do this. You can get yourself stress-free as possible. And in the process of doing it, get yourself financially free as well. All right, everybody, God bless. Thanks for being part of the Doctor's Clinic, where the world is our waiting room, and they're waiting on you to walk in and share with them what Sisel has to offer. And we wanted to do that tonight.
Thank you, DW. Thank you, Dr. Fisnick. Thank you all for being here for Sisel's Doctor's Clinic. This call will be posted within a half hour, possibly 15 minutes. Until next week, we wish you Godspeed.